you doing?
I'm doing great. Where are you?
I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, the home of Charlie Parker.
Oh my God, Kansas City. I love that city.
Yeah, it's a great. Where are you at?
I'm in Bloomington, Indiana.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, well, you guys, there's a lot going on up there in Bloomington. All of the young minds are getting educated.
Well, there's that, but we play a fair amount up in Indy. They have a great jazz club up there.
Yeah, what is the kitchen? Is it the Jazz Kitchen?
You got it, the
Okay,
Jazz Kitchen.
that's it. Yeah.
I used to play a fair amount in Kansas City with Bob Bowman and Danny Embry.
Oh, yeah. Those guys are legendary.
That whole crew. That was years ago, but it's a fun city.
Yeah, it's funny. There's so many people in Kansas City that have legendary status, but the rest of the world doesn't know about them, like Bob Bowman. I mean,
Yeah.
Danny too. Danny on the
Oh,
on the guitar is crazy good. And
yeah, he
just
is.
there's so many cats, and then I'm always blown away when I go into like the Blue Room and Bobby Watson shows up. I'm like, do they understand what's going on right now? The
Yeah,
fact that this guy that has been from the lineage of Art Blakey on is just walking in and playing his horn. It's amazing.
it sure is. And Bob tells me that there's a whole generation of nice young players right now who are really carrying it on. So that's great.
And again, that's Bobby Watson being at UMKC.
Yeah.
Educated. There's a lot of really good educators, but yeah, there's a huge crop. And Kansas City, I've been doing this show since 2011. It used to feel like a springboard. Like cats would graduate and move on to other places, LA, New York. And now they're staying and other people are moving here from
Yeah.
other centers. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Well,
It's a good thing.
sorry about the football team, but other than that,
Yeah, it was gonna happen, man. I grew up loving those guys. I went to training camp and all of that,
oh,
and I just had a weird feeling going into this year. I was like, there's been so much noise, so much fatigue. Everybody's human. There's gonna have to be a reset. So it's fine. I'm actually quite happy that there's all these teams that weren't expected to get in. And I was really hoping Indianapolis was gonna get back in, but everything capsized with them this year.
well, I'm a lifelong Packer fan, so
Okay.
we'll
You're
see.
in, dude. Yeah, you're totally in. Yeah,
Yeah,
and to even see the Bears doing good, and like, how did New England get to be first place? Like, this year is just a weird mystery.
it's fun. It's
Yeah,
fun this year.
that's it. That's a good way of putting it. Well, man, speaking of fun, I love your music. I love what you're doing. It's great to catch up with you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
Well, thank you, Joe. Your calendar's quite booked.
Yeah, I love this, man. I love talking to the musicians. This jazz community, I've done a lot of jobs. I've been around a lot of people in my life. Jazz musicians are the finest specimen of human on the planet. I'm convinced.
That's nice of you to say. That's a nice observation. I like that.
Yeah, it's a great community, so it's always an honor. So let's get into it. Before we get into the new album, I want to know, and this is a question I've tried to get away from, but it's too big. 5 years ago, this pandemic was raging, changing everybody's lives, especially musicians. How did you get through that era, and how has it influenced the way that you do things today?
Well, that was interesting. That pandemic hit right around March 12th of 20,
Yeah,
and I had retired that year from IU. I was teaching in the jazz department over there.
yeah.
So I retired in November, but when spring rolled around, we were on spring break and we left for spring break. And with me retiring, I never saw another student, faculty, administration ever.
Wow.
So that was kind of weird. But then getting through it, it was pretty quiet there for a couple of years. And I remember we have a nice studio around here with Steve Ali, our piano player. So we kind of snuck into the studio, about a year later with masks on and did the whole routine. And it was really, nobody knew. Nobody had any information, as we all know now. We didn't have enough information. So we tried to play, but everybody was out of shape. But it was a very interesting time. And you felt courageous and crappy at the same time.
Yeah.
Uh, but I wasn't. None of us are really, trying to pound it out day after day. So it wasn't that much of a concern. And I had just retired. So for me personally, those 2 years, 3 years were, well, 2 years, let's call it. They were just kind of putting things on hold. And I'm sure a lot of guys have said that. You just put it on hold and reset and set some new goals. So after the dust settled, I was just determined, and my buddies too, just to play and record as much as we could and do it.
That's it.
So we're not trying to, around here, we're not trying to be, go on big tours and be jazz stars. It's just to play with good musicians, play good music, and we do record a fair amount here, and the outcome of that is just like this album I just did. But it's been therapy,
Yeah.
and it kind of keeps everything going. And at some point, maybe that won't be the case, but right now it's been very therapeutic, and I believe we've made some good music, like with Steve Ali Big Band up in we play at the kitchen a lot. We just recorded, I don't know if you play his record on your.
Man, I love that album.
Yeah,
Totally.
that was a big project, and so that kept us busy all of 24 for sure.
Yeah.
And so it's just these little projects that keep me going. And it's funny, I tell my students, or I used to, it's all about projects.
Yep.
If you can do a project that will center you and focus you, and you have a nice outcome, it's worth everything.
I think it's interesting because when I think about people that genuinely retire and they're nervous because they don't know what they're going to do, I think about projects and that whole thing. Like,
Yeah,
it's how much you surround your life with things because I don't see musicians retiring. They just segue into different phases of life, but there's
yeah,
always music. Music is always there. That instrument's always looking at you.
yeah. And again, I'm not depending on making, money at a jazz gig or any gig really.
Yeah.
So it's very fortunate right now that I just play gigs that I want to play. But for me, it's about nice projects.
Yeah.
And, I am fortunate. I have 4 grandkids, so I'm very busy.
I hear that's the best job in the world.
It really is. It really, really, really is.
Yep.
You can spoil them and then split.
That's it. You're out. You're the you're the weekend dad. You're on the run.
I mean, it really is great.
Yeah.
And, it's fun.
So I want to hone in on what you said about the music being therapeutic, and it's interesting to ask this question about COVID because I believe in certain ways, since the beginning of this year, our world has increasingly gotten scarier and stranger, and there's so many things that we never thought we would see materialize in a
Agreed.
dystopian sort of way. And I believe that you musicians releasing albums and getting on stage is providing a therapeutic, an escape, a way of people feeling it. Are you noticing that more when you are in a project or on stage that you're doing something that's helping heal?
Absolutely. Because when we all start talking about the politics of the day, it can get pretty dark
Yeah.
and depressing. And so I try not to go down that road with family or friends and so when we're on the bandstand or when we're in the recording studio or just doing a project, it's just music driven and it's all joy.
Yeah.
And politics, it may come up over lunch or something and everybody will rant a little bit. But man, when we're playing, it is a kind of another world. And that sounds pretty cliche, but it really has been great.
I remember those old UN envoys that Dizzy Gillespie and Louis Armstrong would go on. They'd go into war-torn areas of Africa and they would literally stop war for a day. That's the kind of thing. That's the power that I see that music has over people is that it can literally halt the dark and bring in the light.
Yeah, and it's funny, even for an hour
That's
or
it.
2 hours, it doesn't matter. Like if we do a little hit at the kitchen, do a big Coltrane weekend, which we have one coming up, that just puts people in a beautiful space for a couple hours and they have some nice food and then off they go.
Yeah.
So it's I'm really blessed to be able to do that still.
Yeah.
Don't know how much longer, but it's good.
Yeah. Just got to keep going. So are you originally from Indiana?
No, I'm from Wisconsin. I'm a cheesehead,
Okay.
but I went to North Texas and went to school there and had a great experience. Then went on the road and did all my things, and then moved to California for about 26 years. So I'm more of a Californian than anything. But then I came here to teach. They made me a nice offer I couldn't refuse back in 2001,
Okay.
right at 9/11, oddly enough.
Wow.
So I came here and I've been here ever since. And it's been a great opportunity and I really love teaching at the school because it still gave me a base of operations. I could still go out and do things, and we had the kitchen up just an hour away, so it was an ideal situation. And then my son moved here, and there's the grandkids, and so it's really pretty nice.
So let's go to the crystal ball of your youth. Was it always music? Were you always going to be a musician?
It really was. It really was. The crystal ball of my youth was like Music Man.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad was kind of the music man, but he wasn't like a huckster, you know, he was the real deal. And so it was crazy. We had ice cream socials at my house and thousands of people and pies and bands and marching bands rehearsing in my front yard. And I mean, it was truly magical. So yeah, from I don't know, fourth grade on, fifth grade on, I was surrounded by music, and had a good directors in high school, and then I got myself to North Texas eventually. And so yeah, my parents were supportive every step of the way. It was, you know, in my teaching, I saw a lot of parents who didn't really dig their students, their kids
Yeah.
going into music, and I can understand because it's kind of treacherous. But my parents were very supportive, and I was fortunate to hook onto some good things early. So yeah, my life was. I don't know any other thing. I did sports. I
Yeah.
was fair, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it was good.
Always music. So, since I do jazz radio, I go to a lot of shows. And my wife goes and she likes jazz, but not as much as me. And there's times where I'll kind of use the term Major League Jazz. Like this person, like I remember the first time right before the pandemic happened at the Nelson Atkins Museum, Bill Frisell came in. She was like, "What's he like?" I was like, "I don't know what he's going to do, but I can tell you it's Major League Jazz." And the reason why my precursor to this, of this question, is this: you obviously grew up around music. It was a part of your DNA structure. But what was the first major act you saw on stage that just absolutely sent you to a different place?
Well, you know, as with a lot of drummers, Buddy Rich was around in those days.
Yeah.
So I saw the Buddy Rich big band, and it was like I'd never seen anything like that. I mean, I'm a cheesehead from Wisconsin,
Yeah.
but uh, but shortly after that, Woody Herman came to my high school and did a clinic. So I got that band up close, and then Bill Evans. Bill Evans came through town, and I got to see Bill Evans. So those were some of the early groups with me, and I made Woody Herman one of my goals, one of my early goals, because it impacted me so much.
Yeah.
And he had great drummers. I loved the sound of the band. And when you're seeing that up close as a high school kid, it just I know that kind of thing has changed a lot of people's lives. And in the 70s, a lot of a lot of college kids were going with Woody Herman and Maynard and Stan Kenton. The whole, I mean, name them, Joe Lovano on down. Everyone was traveling with road bands because that was kind of a way to get into the system. And hundreds of players. And there were four or five great road bands that were touring, so it gave a lot of young players opportunities.
So, being around that level of legendary acumen, what did you learn, whether directly or by osmosis, about how you were going to lead your career and be a musician?
That's a good question. I think back then, I I didn't really have a lay of the land for the world or for music really, but I went to North Texas, and that was all about kind of reading and preparing for the gig. So preparation really came into play back then. And then being with Woody, it was just having to perform almost every night after having no sleep or being on a bus. So it was just those kind of gritty road chops. So that all is part of my was part of my DNA. But then I got to say, I lived in Dallas for a while, and I did studio work more than jazz gigs. So that taught me a whole nother level of musicianship. Like again, it was preparation, but it was detail work and just a whole nother side that I really did admire. I don't know that I loved it, but I admired it, and I tried to bring all those things to the table. Moving to LA, same thing, studio work and playing with great musicians who never seemed to make mistakes. It was like, oh boy, this is a whole new level of musicianship that sometimes you don't see on a jazz stage or at a jam session. These are high level musicians. And I was fortunate in LA to hook on with Freddie Hubbard. And that, uh, that was an experience because Freddie, I did about 4 years with Freddie. Did 3 or 4 records, and just that level of intensity. And he was a hero. He was definitely one of my heroes in college, and to have to deliver with him, and there was really no rehearsing and no charts. It was nothing. It was just come and do it.
Wow.
So that was a little terrifying, but I learned a whole lot with Freddie, and so I guess my whole thing, I'm not the consummate jazz musician. I've had some great jazz experiences, but I've also had some studio things and 3 or 4 years with Paul Anka in Vegas. So I don't know. For me, that's what I'm about, in that I'm kind of this potpourri of different experiences, and I think that's reflected in my playing, even to this day. Preparation, attention to detail, getting gritty when I need to,
Yeah.
all those things. I hope that answers your
It
question.
does. It so much does. Let me ask you this. Is you're dreaming of this career that you're going to have in as a musician? You're prepping, you're going to school, you're moving around, you get around legends. What's been the difference between the dream of what you thought your career was going to be like as a full-time musician and the fact that it actually happened and you've lived this life? What was the difference between the dream and reality?
Well, it kind of charts what I just went over with you, in that in the beginning, when I saw Woody, I wanted to be a jazz musician, a road jazz musician. Then about a couple years later, that kind of dream or focus changed to, geez, maybe I want a more stable life, less road work. And in living out in Los Angeles, in that studio scene, it's high octane, and it's a different. So I had different objectives out there. So I guess I would have to say that my dream was always really just to work. It wasn't to be a jazz musician. But I'll tell you what wasn't on my radar was to go be a professor at IU for 20 years. That kind of came out of the blue. I guess I would have been okay living in LA and doing the LA thing, but it came at a beautiful time in my life where uh, it was the perfect thing to do, and it offered me some stability. So I was always taking a look at stability along the way because the life of a musician. You interviewed thousands of guys. It's a little uncertain, shall we say? It can be,
Yeah.
and so I definitely wanted some more certainty in my life, but I still wanted to play. So I just tried to blend those together.
So, what do you like the best about being a professional musician? What gets you up every day? What motivates you to evolve and to be who you are as a musician?
Well, it certainly is the communication and the camaraderie with the guys, the bandstand. And for me, there's nothing better than like being in the studio. Not that we're in the studio to make a bunch of money and sell a bunch of records, but the studio experience of recording and hearing something back and selecting tunes and fixing arrangements, that to me is totally fulfilling. So if I could do that every day, uh, not commercial music, but just jazz music, I mean, that's certainly inspiring. But what gets me up every day, the things that I still do, it's the communication with the guys, coming up with something that we think is meaningful, and then having an audience when there is an audience, having the audience really react to it. I mean, I don't think anyone likes to play in a club with, 10 people.
Yeah.
It's not the same. If you play a club where it's packed show, two houses, and they love it, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's still fun. It was fun 50 years ago. It's still fun now. And just having that camaraderie with the guys and a little slap five at the end of a set. I mean, I don't know. It's cheap thrills. It's good stuff.
I love it. So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, fans, everyone on the bandstand, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Well, at this point, I think I'm a pretty darn good grandpa. I got two kids, so I try to do the dad thing also. Um, in terms of being a musician, I mean, I think guys, my perception with my students, and I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students for the last 50 years. I think there is a respect factor, at least I hope, a respect factor for my students that consider me a really good teacher who actually can do it and who actually was out there and understood what the business is and what it takes to have a career in the studio or on Broadway or as a jazz player. So that was important to me. It is important to me. So I think I'm perceived as a great teacher and a good jazz player who can stir it up, who can still, do a Coltrane tribute or kick a big band to death or do a trio setting. And so I think my friends, musician friends, I hope they think of me as versatile because that's been a hallmark for me. As I've explained, I've had so many different experiences that I'd like to think that I'm versatile. I'm not a trio player or a swing big band player. I'd like to think it goes a little deeper than that. So that's kind of my little calling card, and for whatever that's worth, however it lasts, it's good. It feels good.
Absolutely. So the new album is And Then Some. It's on Bandcamp. If anyone wants to catch you live, pick up any previous work, any of the good business in your world, where do people go?
Um, I don't quite say that question again.
So I guess I mean the new album is on Bandcamp. But if anybody wants to pick up any previous albums, or if they want to catch you live and see a schedule, any of that, where would they go?
Well, my website uh, has all the albums I've done,
Okay.
and it's crazy. Since I've been in Indiana, I've done about 20 recordings.
Yeah.
It's nutty.
Yeah.
And you'd think, well, God, he's moving to Indiana. That's going to dry up. But we have a nice situation here. So, and I bring in my buddies from LA if I need to, Bob Shepard and Larry Kuntz, and so you can find our records on Bandcamp or on Apple Music and Spotify. A lot of our stuff's on Spotify. My website, houghtonmusic.com, does have everything on there.
Okay.
But it's funny, the business has changed.
Yeah.
You followed it in your perch for the last 15 years. I mean, record stores, records, the publishing business. I wrote a lot of books. I had 30 books. So everything's changed. And so if they can find your work somewhere, somehow, it's good,
That is
but
good.
it's challenging, you know.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's gotten more challenging. I will make sure to have all of these links in the show notes. Steve, you're a treasure. Thank you for your stories. Thank you for your time, your wisdom. I appreciate it, and have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you so much, Joe, for reaching out and agreeing to do this. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, it was wonderful.